Welcome to this on-demand webinar, Getting Started with Strategic Roadmaps. On today's agenda, we're going to learn what Strategic Roadmaps is and how it can benefit your team, and the rest of the webinar will be working in Strategic Roadmaps. We'll create a roadmap, create views of the items on our roadmap, take a look at some customizations, learn how to share the roadmap, and discuss integrations. We'll also talk about how to get support around Strategic Roadmaps. Some quick housekeeping items. Because this is an on-demand webinar, you can skip ahead to certain sections that interest you. If you do need additional help, please reach out to our support team. Last, at the end of the webinar, we'll have some resources for you that you can use to take your next steps with Strategic Roadmaps. So what is Strategic Roadmaps? Strategic Roadmaps allows teams to quickly build boardroom-ready roadmaps in minutes. It's perfect for non-technical users as the interface is extremely intuitive. It also allows for a lot of flexibility across teams, as you can create different views to present your roadmap data in a variety of ways. It also allows you to keep the entire organization aligned on strategy and vision, as you can share roadmaps and portfolios with external stakeholders. So how can Strategic Roadmaps help your team? First off, it can help the entire organization with alignment. Using the features and customizations that come with Strategic Roadmaps, you can build digestible roadmaps in a matter of minutes that clearly convey the company-wide strategy and vision. Then, once you've made these roadmaps, you can roll them up into a portfolio to show how work is progressing across all corners of your organization. You can even share your roadmaps and portfolios with internal and external stakeholders. Strategic Roadmaps also facilitates strategic decision-making and prioritization. In Strategic Roadmaps, you can easily visualize dependencies and deadlines so they stand out to your organization. That way, the right work is prioritized and the best decisions are made to continuously grow and evolve the product. Strategic Roadmaps also integrates with other work management tools. In a time where organizations are using several different tools to track their work, it's really nice that in Strategic Roadmaps, you can bring it all into one single place so that Strategic Roadmaps can ensure all key data is included when visualizing the strategy. Strategic Roadmaps integrates with Jira. This means if you're tracking your work in Jira projects, you can connect them directly to Strategic Roadmaps and pull in their issues as items that you can then visualize on the roadmap. You can even bring in Jira fields that live on those issues into Strategic Roadmaps so that the data is maintained across the two products. This is also nice too, because that means your teams don't have to hop back and forth between multiple tools to see the details of the data that's on the roadmap. Strategic Roadmaps also integrates with Structure, another Tempo product. Structure allows you to easily visualize multiple Jira projects, programs, and portfolios in a single place. When you integrate Strategic Roadmaps with Structure, you can quickly and easily pull in issues from the structure directly onto a roadmap. So let's take a look at how to use Strategic Roadmaps. All right, so now we're going to work directly in Strategic Roadmaps. We're first going to learn how to build a roadmap, then we'll look at how to add items to it. We'll learn how to work with those items and how to make adjustments to them as needed. We'll then take a look at creating views, which visualizes the items on the roadmap. We'll also customize our roadmap, learn how to share it externally and internally, and then we'll finish up by learning about integrations and how to get support directly from Strategic Roadmaps. To build your first roadmap, click Plus Roadmap in the top right corner. You can choose from one of three options. New Roadmap creates a blank roadmap, New from Template creates a roadmap using a template, and once you've built a couple of roadmaps in Strategic Roadmaps, if you'd like to create a portfolio out of them, New Portfolio allows you to do that. We do recommend if you're getting started with Strategic Roadmaps to try out this New from Template option. You can see that Strategic Roadmaps comes with a lot of different templates for specific teams and departments. And what's really nice about them is that they already have the settings and best practices in place, so you don't have to customize them yourself. These templates also optionally allow you to load them with sample data so you can get inspiration as you continue to use Strategic Roadmaps. You're also able to create your own templates. For today, I'm going to go ahead and create a roadmap using this New Roadmap option. The first thing you'll do when you're creating a roadmap is give it a title. One thing we do recommend is that you ensure that the name of the roadmap is clear and detailed so it conveys exactly what's on it. If you're a bigger organization and you've used the tool for a bit, you may have a lot of roadmaps. If you don't give the roadmaps specific names, it can be hard to figure out which one you're supposed to be using when and which one is appropriate for which team. I want to create a roadmap that conveys the 2025 strategy for my product development team. So I'm going to give it the title Product Development Roadmap 2025. You can adjust the fiscal year end and enable date inheritance if you want to, but that's optional. You just need to give the roadmap a title and then you can click Create. So once you've created your roadmap, you'll have to add items to it. You can do that in a couple of ways. You can either add items manually or import a file with your items. There are two ways to bring them in. You can either use these buttons down here, or if you hover over this Quick Actions button, you can import items or add them from here. I'm going to import a file, and Strategic Roadmaps will provide you with the step-by-step process of how to bring that file in. When you first are starting this process, we do recommend downloading the CSV template for the file so that it has the right headers and correct formatting. This ensures that the import process is as smooth as possible. If you do get errors as you're importing, you can see right here we have a direct link to a support article to help you troubleshoot. I'm going to grab my file, and you're next going to be asked to map your fields that are in the file. So when you bring in your items, you can provide details around those items using fields. You can see I have some fields for the description, the start and end date of the item, and more. If you want to modify any of the field mappings, simply click into the header for the field you want to adjust, and you can choose a new field to map it to. You also can choose to leave that field out entirely with this Do Not Import option. Once you've made sure that your field mappings are correct, you'll click Next. So 60 items are going to be brought onto my roadmap. Click Update and Override All, and you can see that the items show up as a table with their fields making up the headers of the table. If you want to add any fields to your items, you can click this plus sign right here and either add an account field or a roadmap field. An account field is a field that anybody in Strategic Roadmaps can use, and a roadmap field is a field that only exists on your particular roadmap. We definitely recommend before you create a new field to go through your account fields just to make sure that field doesn't already exist. I'm going to add a field for priority. And if I want to update that field on an item, I just click into the field on the item and update its value. If you want to make multiple adjustments, you can click the name of the item and it will open up the item's details. We're going to walk through everything here in a little bit, but one thing I want to call out here is the Activity tab. You can see that any activity I've made on the particular item is going to show up over here. So you can see I changed that priority to high and it lists it. You can also add comments to the item here. All right, so now that we have our items in place and we've updated some of them, we're going to go ahead and visualize them with what are called views. To create views, you can either click Visualize Data or you can click on the Viewfinder and click the plus sign here. When you're creating your views, you have to pick a visualization type. You can either choose a swim lane or a timeline. We recommend using a timeline view if your team has very specific deadlines or milestones they want to hit. The swim lane view is a great choice if your team is using strategic roadmaps for exploratory projects and you don't have certain deadlines that you're trying to meet. This view is a little bit more flexible. I'm going to make both views for my product development team, but we're going to start with the timeline view. And when I create this view, I'm actually going to break it down by the department that's working on those items. So I'm going to call this view Timeline View by Department. So it's very clear as to what this view is trying to convey. So now that you have your visualization type and your title in place, you can click Create. All right, so now we have a really nice timeline view of the items on our roadmap. If you want to adjust the dates that appear in the view as you're looking at it, you can always use this sliding scale to zoom in and zoom out on the range. When you create views in strategic roadmaps, you also have the ability to customize them with this Format button here. You can adjust the layout, the colors, and the dates of the view. So as I mentioned before, I want to see the timeline view by department. In order to break this down a little bit more, I'm going to add a header. I'm going to click into the header dropdown, click Use Existing Field, and pick that department field. So now you can see I'm viewing the items on the roadmap by their start and end dates, and then I also have it further broken down by department, so the organization has a really good understanding of who's responsible for what. You can even add a subheader if you want to break this down more. So we do have a field to represent the category of each item. So if I click into my subheader and choose Use Existing Field, I can pick that as well. If there are any fields that don't have a value for the fields you picked for the header or subheader, if you check Hide Empty Headers, it will hide those headers from the roadmap to declutter it a bit. There are a lot of customizations you can make to the layout here. I'm going to cover a couple more. The first one is the item progress. On each of our items, we have a field for % completion, and my organization wants to see that automatically when they're looking at the view as well. To do that, I just click into the dropdown, click % complete, and you'll now see, for example, my remarketing campaign is 90% done. You can adjust that main data point that appears as the label of the item, and you can also add an additional field as a suffix to the label if you want to provide additional context on it. I do briefly want to note too that in the timeline view, you can add milestones. Milestones are really great if your team has important events or important goals they're trying to achieve by a certain date around their items. So let's say you have a trade show or a product launch that comes at a certain date, you can display that in a timeline view. So we also have some customizations around how those milestones look on the timeline. In your colors tab, you can adjust the color palette that's used for the view. You can even make your own custom color palettes if you have specific colors that your organization uses. And then you can adjust the milestones that are used and displayed as well. So you can modify the icons that appear on them as well as their colors, and you can add additional milestones if you need. In the format section, you can also modify dates and the way they look in the view. All right, so we've added some really great customizations to the timeline view. Now that we've done that, I actually want to link some items to each other. Linking items is really great if you want to visualize dependencies, for example, or if any items are blocking each other. So let's say, for example, that down here, my front end redesign relies pretty heavily on PM testing. So I'm going to link these two items together. To do that, I'm going to choose one of the items by clicking it, and it opens the item's details. This probably looks familiar to you because we did look at this in the table view. All of the features will be the same no matter what view you're in. So whether you're in a timeline view, if you create a swim lane view, which we'll do in a little bit, or if you're in that table view that we were in before. Well, I want to link this item to the PM testing. So I'm going to click Linked Items and then click Begin Linking Items. You have different link types you can choose. I'm going to keep it as relates to, and then I'm going to type in my item and select it. I'll now click Update, and you can see when I hover over the item, it now shows that link type. So when you're looking at a link type on a roadmap, if you're not sure which type it is, you can always use the legend on the right-hand side for more clarification. So when we hover back over this item, you can see it's that single dotted line, which in our legend tells us it's the relates to link type. So the last thing we're going to do in the timeline view is add a milestone to the roadmap. We have a big trade show coming up in September that we want to make sure stands out on the roadmap, so the whole organization has it on their radar. To add a milestone, you're going to hover over the Quick Actions button and then click Add New Item. You'll then use this toggle to change this to milestones and give your milestone a name. It automatically is going to be a trade show milestone type, but if you want to change it to any other kind of milestone, you can. So you can see a launch, for example, has a totally different icon and color than a trade show. I'm going to switch it back to trade show, and then to add it to the timeline, you'll drag it to the designated spot. So you can continue to do this for each milestone you have that you need to make sure shows up on your timeline view. Okay, so now that we've learned how to add a milestone directly to the timeline, we're going to learn how to import multiple milestones at a time. There's actually a specific view you can go to do this. To find it, you'll just open the viewfinder and click Milestones. You'll see that the milestone we added directly to the timeline appears here. And below it, if you click Add New Item, you can also add a milestone here. To import the file, you'll go to the Quick Actions option in the top right, and you'll see at the bottom there's your Import CSV option. We do recommend, though, before you do your first import, that you click Export CSV, as this will create a CSV file with the correct headers and the correct formatting to ensure that you have the smoothest import process possible. All right, so now that we've learned how to add milestones, we're going to go ahead and create a new swim lane view. To do this, you'll open up the viewfinder and click Add New View. So in this scenario, my team is requesting that the swim lane view be broken down by the stage that the item is at. So I'm going to choose my visualization type of swim lane. And then when I'm naming this view, I'm going to make sure I include that detail in there. So I'm going to name this swim lane view by stage, and I'll click Create. So you notice this view looks different from the timeline view. There's not a timeline on here. The roadmap really focuses on these swim lanes here. My team requested to also see the items broken down by the stage that they're in. So we're going to adjust the formatting of the swim lane view to show that. We're going to click the Format tab like we did in the timeline view, and we're going to adjust the row header to represent that. We'll go into the row header dropdown, click Use Existing Field, and we have our stage. So this is really nice because now when users come to this view, they can see basically the status of their items by when we need them to be done by. That's this end date up here. So you'll notice there are a lot of similarities between the formatting of the swim lane view and the timeline view. You have your three sections, your layout, your colors, and your dates. But you can customize the way the items look a little bit more in this particular view because the items appear as cards in the swim lanes. So if you want to add the item progress like we did in the timeline view to the items in the swim lane view, you can go to this drop down here, click % complete, and you see now that percentage shows at the bottom of the item card. You can also adjust the colors and the way dates appear as well. So now that we've created a swim lane view, I want to adjust this Feature A release item. I actually want to add a sub item to it. What sub-items are used for in strategic roadmaps typically is to visualize hierarchies on the roadmap. So Feature A release is an epic, and front-end redesign is a story in that epic. So what I'm going to go ahead and do to add a sub-item is I'm going to click this plus sign here, type in the name of the item that I want to make a sub-item, and select it. And then if I just click out of it, you see now there's this hierarchy icon and my sub-item is listed on the item card. While we're in the swim lane view, I'm going to open up the details of the item so you can see how to make adjustments from within this view. So walking through all of the data points you can update on an item, you can, in the overview tab, give it a description. You can also upload any attachments. You can update fields in this Fields tab on the right and then see the activity of the item here. You can link items. You can add sub-items here as well. And if you're using feedback and idea management within strategic roadmaps, you can link the item to an idea as well. Something to call out here is when you click an item in any view, whether that's a timeline view or that table view that we were in earlier, this is going to look exactly the same. A couple of other things you can do. when you're editing an item is with this More Actions button. You can copy the item URL so you can share it directly with someone. You can duplicate an item and also delete it. You can also perform those actions by hovering over the item, clicking on the set of 3 dots, and you'll see all of your item actions will appear here. If you want to move an item in a swim lane view, you can always drag it and drop it into the new swim lane or the new row. You can also add new items in the swim lane view. You can add them in the timeline view as well as the table view. Before we move on to sharing the roadmap, I just want to call out that you can filter your roadmap. If you click this filters icon, you can filter off of any data point that exists on the roadmap. So let's say I want to filter by department. To do that, I'll just click the field right here and then choose the value I want to filter off of. Let's say I want to drill this down to only show the items that the marketing team is responsible for. I'll click into this drop down here, choose marketing, and click update filters. And now you'll see only marketing's work appears on the roadmap. And then to remove the filter, you just click clear filters. All right, so let's take a closer look at how to share the roadmap. You can share the roadmap with users in strategic roadmaps, and you can also share it with users that don't have access to strategic roadmaps. To give access to users that are in strategic roadmaps, you can click share up here. Type in the name of the user you want to add, click them, and you can adjust the role they have within the roadmap. You can make them an owner, give them edit access, or give them view-only access. If you've created teams in strategic roadmaps, you can also add them here, and you can invite new users as well. Once you're ready to give that access out, you can click save, and that user will receive an email letting them know they can access the roadmap. To share this externally, you can click export preview. You can either publish the roadmap as a URL, or you can publish it as a PNG. Download it and send it to external stakeholders. The really cool option about a URL is that this is dynamic, so as updates are made, the roadmap can refresh in real time. You can adjust the publishing settings down here and even add a password to the roadmap to restrict it a little bit more. If you do have specific branding you want to add when you publish your URL, you can do that with these layout options here. To officially publish the roadmap, you'll just click Publish Roadmap to URL, and it will generate that roadmap for you. So the last thing we're going to cover in this view is your integrations. What's really nice about strategic roadmaps is it integrates with a lot of different tools that teams often use to manage their work. If you click Integrations, you can see we integrate with Jira Software, Asana, Monday.com, and more. We also integrate with Structure, which is another Tempo product. To set up the integration, you just click on the tile for the desired integration and it'll walk you through the setup steps. So the last thing we're going to cover is how to get support in strategic roadmaps. As we've gone through this, you probably have noticed that there are direct links to support articles throughout strategic roadmaps. So for example, if I open up the item card, you can see in this add description section, there's an entire article on advice on how to format your descriptions. So keep an eye out for these links as you're building your roadmaps, because these can help you with some tips and tricks and support. You can also get direct support by clicking on this question mark icon. You can either go directly to the Tempo Help Center, you can contact us here, and you can even see release notes around strategic roadmaps from here. Thanks for watching.